Okay, so we're moving on to lesson 5 now, which is all about the area of a parallelogram. And I've got my little YouTube clip up here. I've worked out that the way we find the area of a parallelogram is we use this formula here, which is just the base times the height. And the base is this bottom side here, and the height is the perpendicular height here. So it's not this sloping height, the slant height. It's the perpendicular height, which means that it's the height from the base up to that other side that's parallel with the base. It has to be making a right angle with the base, has to be perpendicular to the base. So we just need to multiply those two values together and we have our area. Okay, so in this case, we just need to multiply 16 times 8 because, as you can see, the base here is 16 and the perpendicular height is 8 centimeters. And we can see that that's the perpendicular height because there's a little right angle here showing us that this line here is parallel with this line here. So that's 128 centimeters squared. And remember, because we were working with lengths up here, but we're giving our answer as an area, we need to change our units to centimeters squared. Okay, use the formula area equals base times height to calculate the area of the parallelogram below. So again, same thing, we've got a base of 1.9 this time, and we need to multiply it by the height, which in this case is 3 meters. So our answer is 5.7 square meters, remembering to change that unit so that it's got a little power of 2 here. Again, using the same formula, let's calculate the area of this parallelogram. We've got a base of 11 and we've got a perpendicular height of 11 as well. So this is going to have the same area as a square would have with a side of 11. And that's 121 millimeters squared. Here we have a base of 6 centimeters and a perpendicular height of 4 centimeters. So 6 times 4 gives us 24 centimeters squared because we're now talking about area. 9 times 5, 45 meters squared. 7 times, what's the perpendicular height here? So it's showing the perpendicular height outside of the parallelogram instead of inside the parallelogram, but that's the same height because that line there starts at the same point as the base and it ends up here on the side that's parallel to the base. So it's going to be the exact same height as if the line was here. So the perpendicular height is still 3 millimeters. 7 times 3, 21. Here we've got a parallelogram on its side. You can just visualize that we're turning that, rotating it, 90 degrees, and we'll end up with a base that is actually on the bottom if you rotated this around on your screen. This is the base here and the height is here. So we still only need to multiply them together. It doesn't matter which order you do it in. 9 times 7 or 7 times 9 gives you 63 millimeters squared. And you can see that this height is perpendicular to what we said our base was. So this is our base because we've already been given this value. And as long as we've got a height that's perpendicular to that base, then we're all good. Doesn't matter which way the shape is facing. Doesn't matter if it's been rotated. Here we have the same thing again. Here's our base back in the normal position. Looks like it's on the base this time. And here's our perpendicular height of 2 centimeters. So 10 times 2 is 20. Oh, is it meters? That's 20 meters. This looks like it's just a problem with the answer, but there should be a C there. Another one, same thing again. It's a parallelogram. It's got a base of 6 meters and it's got a perpendicular height of 8 meters. So 6 times 8 will give us the area. Same again here. This 12 meters is just showing us the length of this base here. It's not including this dotted line. So our base is 12 meters and our perpendicular height is 8 meters because this line here is at a right angle with our base. It goes from the base up to the other side that's parallel with the base. So that makes it our perpendicular height. So 12 times 8 will give us our area in meters squared. This time our base is over here. Our base is always going to be one of the actual sides of the parallelogram, whereas the height just has to be perpendicular to that base. So here's our base over here. It's one of the sides of the parallelogram, and perpendicular to that side, shown by this little right angle here, we've got a perpendicular height, and it goes all the way up to the side that's perpendicular with parallel with the base over here. So that's the full height there, 7 millimeters. 6 times 7 will give you your area in millimeters squared. Same again here, we've got a base of 4, perpendicular height of 9. So that's 4 times 9, which gives us 36. And we change our unit to centimeters squared. Okay, now this question is a little bit different. It's asking us what the length is, okay? So it's saying the area of the parallelogram is 40 meters square. So we've already been told the area. In the previous questions, we were trying to find the area. It says calculate the area. But this time they're telling us the area already. And they're asking us, they're saying if the perpendicular height is 4 meters, okay, so they're giving us the perpendicular height, they're giving us the area, but what they haven't given us is the length. Okay, so they haven't given us this length here. And what's another word for length from our previous questions? What do we call this length here? We call it the base. So they're asking us to find the base. And they've given us the area, which is 40. They've given us the height, which is 4. And they want us to tell them what the base is. Well, can you imagine if this formula here said 40 equals base times 4? That means that the base is some number that when you times by 4, when you multiply the base by 4, you end up with 40. So what is the base going to be? What number can you multiply by 4 and end up with 40? What number times 4 gives you 40? Well, another way of thinking of that is I can say, well, 40 divided by 4, that's going to give me that number that when multiplied with 4 gives me 40. So what's 40 divided by 4? 10. And we can test to see if that's true. So we think our answer is going to be 10 meters, meaning that this base here is 10 meters. Well, let's check if it's true. Let's put it into the formula again. So our area is 40. So 40 has to equal our base, which we just said was 10, times our height, which we know already is 4. So 40 equals 10 times 4. Does that work? Yes, it does. 40 is 10 times 4. And the way we worked that out was we just said, okay, well, we've got 4 here, and we know that 4 has to be multiplied by some number to end up with 40. So the only number that it can be multiplied with to end up with 40 is 10, because 4 times 10, or 10 times 4, is 40. And we can also do that by saying 40 divided by 4. 40 divided by 4 will give us that value of 10 as well.